Okay, yeah.
Hey, did we remember to bring that shirt for Question Tuesday?
No, we definitely didn't. Wait, so do I have to give him mine? It's kind of cold out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Valley of the Last Dinosaurs. It's Question Tuesday, so this is our chance to answer your questions from the internet with the scientists who are out here making all this science happen this summer. So this week we got a really cool submission on our YouTube channel, and Samuel Elkind wrote, what specific characteristics of the sedimentary unit that's containing the triceratops make it suitable for fossil preservation? That's like a really good question. We've been talking about it all morning, actually.
Yep.
And we're out here on the outcrop with Matt Hess today.
What's up, guys?
And he's one of the sedimentary geologists who's out here doing this big mapping project, trying to figure out just what these rocks are all about. So, not everything that lives and dies makes a good fossil. To make a fossil, you have to end up in the sedimentary rocks where they're being deposited. So, what is it about these sedimentary rocks that actually make that happen?
So these sedimentary rocks that we've been working in are part of the Hell Creek Formation. It was deposited on a coastal plain by rivers near the Cretaceous Interior Seaway approximately 66 million years ago. And it's primarily composed of sandstones, mudstones, coals, and clays. So yeah, I mean,
Okay.
It's a pretty interesting package of rocks.
So that river system was depositing all these different kinds of rocks, and I guess every kind of rock that we're looking at actually represents a different environment of deposition. So the sandstone built up in the channels, like this channel sand, in the channels of these rivers that were meandering, while the mudstone, like right where we're sitting, was deposited on the overbank in the floodplain.
So the reason why we know this is because we can actually observe the modern world today and use the modern world and observe the sedimentation there as an analog for what happened in the past. So a great example of what the Hell Creek Formation's environment might have looked like is the Louisiana River Delta.
Oh wow, so anybody who's been out to the river down in the bayou or been out to the beach down the Gulf Coast, they can see this actually happening. There's still coal being deposited, there's still sand piling up in beaches and rivers.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. So I guess, and the other part of your question that's really important is that big skeletons and big dead animals like that triceratops are extremely biodegradable, right? Like all the roadkill you see when you're driving around, that stuff doesn't hold up very well on the surface of the earth because of agents of degradation. So how do we get around that, and how does something manage to ever be fossilized for 66 million years?
So it's really important that burial is happening. When organisms are covered with sediment, they actually are sort of cut off from the outside world and all those agents of degradation. And what happens is they're actually protected by these layers of sediment that are being deposited on top of them. So the biggest key is actually the rate of sedimentation, because they can be deposited in an area where sedimentation is occurring, but if it's not occurring rapidly enough, there's still not going to be much preservation of any organism in the fossil record.
Okay, so you just need rapid burial. So something has to be lucky enough to live and die near one of these river systems where sediments are building up.
Yep.
And then it has to be buried quickly by, I guess, a flood event or something. There has to be a big abundance of sand and mud piling on them before they have a chance to break down.
Absolutely.
So now, this sounds like a dumb question, but if all this river sand is keeping, that river just persists in the landscape for a long time, how come we don't have to dig down through thousands and thousands of feet to get to these fossils? I mean, that triceratops was just right at the surface of the earth.
Right. The reason is because of geologic uplift and mountain building events called orogenies. Essentially, tectonic forces bring buried packages of rock back up to the surface, and once they're there, erosion, like from wind, rainwater, stream channels, are actually cutting back down into these rocks, forming hill slopes where we can walk around and find the bones peeking out of the hill. As paleontologists and geologists, yeah.
That's crazy how many things have to come together. Something has to live in a depositional environment. It has to die there. It has to get buried really fast, pushed down way below the earth. Then all that package of rocks has to get pushed back up, eventually eroded out from a whole other geologic process. It's kind of a miracle we find anything in the fossil record.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. I mean, every fossil has their own story, but, the final piece, I guess, to that story is the scientists coming along in the field and actually discovering these bones.
And that's what you're doing out here, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, we should probably get back out there. I know the whole crew's waiting on us.
Well, I don't want to hold you up from your work, so we probably better get out there. But Sam, thanks for the question. That's a really insightful deal. And to reward you for your awesome question, we're going to send you a t-shirt so you can rep our project back at home. And thanks a lot. Everybody else watching, please send us more of your questions, and we'll try to get a scientist like Matt to answer them on camera. All right. See you guys.
Bye, guys. I wish we had remembered to bring him a shirt. Now I have to give him mine.